The roots of trust-based philanthropy are very similar to your roots in collective giving, being in collaboration and partnership. One of trust-based philanthropy's purposes is to reimagine a culture of giving.
We believe that the people who are best positioned to make change are those that are impacted by the problems that they're trying to solve. We think that the wisdom and the leadership should come from those who are most impacted. And so trust-based philanthropy for us is about centering the grantees.
We know that less than 3% of all funding goes to Black, Indigenous, and Latino leaders of organizations. So while organizations may be serving those populations, we look specifically at who's in executive leadership and also who are on the boards of the organizations, because again, we're looking at power. So if that's a front lens, we hold that, and we also held for ourselves, we were looking for organizations with budgets of $1 million or less. And so we would proactively find partners through publicly held information. So our due diligence was on our side. It's called We Do the Homework. Our experiential understanding, if we have shared values, going back to Dimple's point, do we share values around the most important things, around equity, around humility, around listening to feedback of our constituents, having accountability to those communities. Just take it a few steps further, then we're now in a relationship that we think of as a relationship of learning, not a relationship of proof. So meaning we're in the relationship not to chalk up some metrics of impact on a report card and tally them and use that tally to then support some claims of our own impact or grade a partner for further funding. We're in a relationship of learning. Wouldn't we rather spend the time in relationship, conversation, and learning rather than behind our laptops reading proposals and reports? Like, isn't that a more appealing way anyway to live into the human dimension that we're all attracted to in this work?
And ask yourselves, are we doing, is our application process set up this way because this is, how all funders do it? Or is it set up this way because this really helps the effectiveness and sustainability of our grantees?
We transitioned our board to one that is very diverse so that our eyes and ears and networks are all really diverse, and they're diverse in a lot of ways. This maybe speaks to the Giving Circle set of eyes when looking at applications. We have really diversified the set of eyes that refer in and that review. It's asking the people that we're helping, how do you want to be helped? And I can guarantee you 1,000,000% of the time, they're not going to say, can you please create another structure for us to compete in to get dollars we need to pay our staff?
We use trust-based approaches because we urgently want our grantees to be powerful. And so in the context of that power imbalance, we're intentional about not wanting to hoard additional power. What that looks like is things like having our default grant be a general operating support grant as opposed to a project support grant. When your grants are a tremendous amount of work, not just for us as funders, but more importantly for our grantees, right? They're having to come back every year and ask us for funding and having to sort of go through the cycle of proving their expertise and their worth every year. And so what we have moved towards is defaulting towards 2 to 3 year grants, which gives grantees this longer runway. And when I think about the power that gives them, it gives them the power to imagine more long-term change and actually move towards it, because they don't have to kind of break everything down into like what can be accomplished in a year.
We can do inclusive design in 1,000 different ways. But if, again, we go back to Dimple's point, the folks at the table are not the ones directly experiencing that issue and directly trying to counteract that in their actual lived experience, whether, on whatever scale we're talking about and whatever issue we're talking about, then we're not getting to shifting the power dynamic. So it's not that trust-based philanthropy is about sort of blindly and being undiscerning in our relationships. In fact, I say no a lot more than I say yes in trust-based philanthropy, because we're not completely transparent. The opaqueness of our intentions can be misread in about a million different ways. If anyone wants to call themselves trust-based to their community, they're going to want to be very transparent about what they mean by that.
We are excited to share our experience with others. So it's not, we share it because I feel like it's both made us better grant makers, but it's made our grantees able to do their work in a way that's more supported.
And I think what trust-based philanthropy and anything that questions our own individual embodiment of power or our institutional decisions of power, there's going to be some discomfort in examining that and interrogating that and being truthful about that. But I think we believe that if we're able to do that, and we're able to do that with a spirit of real service and compassion and intention, then we can maybe add to the climate that we'd like to have in this country, which is I don't think we want to be so close together and so far apart.